Okay, so this lesson connects with the Friday afternoon lesson, so obviously you'll take yourself back to that time. If you go to the Sources of Contemporary Australian Law section on the website, I do have an international law video section. I've got one that successfully uploaded over the weekend. The second one is having a little bit of trouble, but I'll eventually get that up. Okay? Because today, all the international law videos will be recorded. Okay? So, remember, you're going to be able to watch those again. And what I've actually gone through is integrated like other things into the videos as well. Okay? Like I've put in maps, I've put in other sort of important language. I even had to fact check me because I got something wrong about Kosovo last. I was listening to it and hang on, I said 106 recognise Kosovo. It's actually 115, so I fact checked that into my video. Okay? So, you know, we've got to make sure that I'm getting the right information out once I get excited about teaching this stuff. Okay, last lesson was a lot about state sovereignty. We're going to quickly just recap and then move into the Security Council and a lot of these cases that have gone through the Security Council. So, first of all, you should know the definition by now. We've done this over the last two lessons, and we've got a range of examples. And what did we say about state sovereignty? It can be a positive or a negative for the promotion and recognition of international law. Okay? Alright. We also want to try and get some thought about this negativity. Now have a look at this image here. What's this image trying to depict in your own words by having a look at it? What's it actually trying to show you? Georgie?
So this shows that state sovereignty is actually acting as a barrier in the enforcement of human rights. So it's showing that while the international community is not really paying attention to the violation of human rights simply because state sovereignty exists as a principle that we should obey in order to keep that state.
Excellent. What else do you want to add? No, you're just raising your hands to the sky. Exactly, barrier, good. What's this saying is that a whole lot of things happen on the international playing field here. Hey, let's sign this piece of paper, let's take the photos and all the shaking of hands and exchanging of our official pens and all that business. But then when it gets behind closed doors, or within the internal events of the state, the nation state, is there some of the things that we're covering up? Now, I'm hoping Brooke talked about Burma, okay, which got me interested on the weekend to sort of look at what's going on there. There's accusations by the UN saying that this could be crimes against humanity, violations of international law that's currently going on in Burma. What does the Burmese government, they say? It's an internal issue. See that?
How does Saudi Arabia get like the
Sorry, first question, yeah?
Is that the country where they shooting people?
That's the Philippines.
That's another one. That's another state sovereignty issue.
How does Saudi Arabia get like connected to the UN Human Rights Council?
We'll get to that one. That's the cool. Alright, we'll get to that one. Alright, so this is a good image to have in your head. Yeah? Now please follow me on this stuff because I need you to stay on track. If this is sort of saying this sort of lack of enforceability, what can the international community do to stop this? If this is the national police or the national army doing this, is this being advocated by the sovereign themselves?
Yes.
Okay? And
Not necessarily.
it's just a rhetorical question out there. And also, when we start looking at these two big cases today, Libya and Syria, okay, we want to see what state sovereignty issues arise in this. There's a whole range of things going here, but by the end of today's lesson, I want to go actually really deep into it, as far as what a Year 12 level will be. Okay? Alright. Let's go and have a look at the Security Council Day.
So I think it's fine.
Yeah, I've got to press it again.
So it's not uploaded.
Yeah, it is.
So nothing at all.
I'm going to just turn it off and turn it back on.
Is that any
Yeah.
What?
That was working brilliantly. Yeah, turn it off again. Alright, so let's quickly do a run through about the Security Council. It's one of the organs of the UN. Tell me the features of the Security Council before we get into the cases. What's the Security Council look like? What's it all about?
Has the non-permanent five and the permanent five.
Good, okay. Start off with the permanent five.
So the permanent five consists of Russia, China, America, Britain and France.
Good.
The non-permanent 5 rotate 5 at a time out and in.
Good.
They serve for 2 terms, like
2 years per term, okay? And they get selected by the General Assembly, okay? And it sort of gets a bit of a rotation of the world kind of thing. And there's regions, okay, of the world that get selected at one given time. So when you have a look at the Security Council boys at one given time, it's supposed to be a fair representation of the world at that time. But the permanent 5 always sit there. If you think geographically they are the permanent 5, what do they have in common with each other?
World War II.
Yes? Geographically though? Northern Hemisphere, okay? So there's this argument that, you know, decisions are made for Northern Hemisphere interests and maybe not Southern Hemisphere interests, okay? And also, there's a fair amount of it being European-centric, because of World War II, okay? Alright. China's in there, okay? But we also know that, you know, China was largely there at the beginning because of that relationship with America in pushing back Japan, okay? And then obviously what happened with the change in government in China with Taiwan, okay, which is all in that area. All right, I'll get you to these notes and then we're going to go into these examples. Now this is just unpacking the UN. We're going to have a strong influence, focus on looking at the Security Council today. So yep, 15 members, okay, but at the UN and the General Assembly it's 193, okay? We're going to largely look at these big 3. We're going to look at Security Council today. If we do get time, we might look at some of the cases that the General Assembly has done, because too often students get confused about what the General Assembly does and what the Security Council does. Well, let's start off with Security Council, okay? All right. So, here's just a, you know how I love my geography? Here's a bit of a trivia, okay? This was actually $1 million question on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire about 10 years ago. The question was, which country is the furthest up the map of the UN?
Oh.
Which country sits on top of the UN flag? For $1 million. That thing there is the UN flag.
Which country is
New Zealand.
Correct. You win $1 million.
New Zealand.
Okay.
Yeah, correct, sir.
Huh?
Yeah, correct, sir.
No, you get $1 million.
Wait, what?
It's not South Hemisphere if you think about it. It's just rotating.
Okay, so instead of looking at the world like that, it's looked at from the Arctic Circle.
Bad boys, I'm an
Okay?
Where's the top of it?
It's all I recognize.
Underneath.
Ah, right.
Okay? Not on the UN map. Okay? So anyway, there you go. Congratulations.
All it sees it's the way
Okay.
What?
So there's our first notes on the UN. Here's a quick video, okay, on what the UN does. And I think you know most of this anyway, but it's a good little recap before what we get into.
So imagine a world parliament. Imagine 193 voices gathering together in New York to deliberate over matters of peace and security. The United Nations was established in 1945 with the signatory of 50 countries for the express purpose of preventing the outbreak of war and averting a world war. The United Nations has many parts to it. It deals, for instance, with matters of economics and social policy. It deals with matters of human rights. It deals with matters of culture. But the most important parts of the UN are the Security Council, which has 5 permanent members who are responsible for controlling its policy.
In their flag.
These are France, Britain, the United States, China, and Russia. The other body that is very important is where all the nations meet and come together, and that is the General Assembly.
That's what General Assembly
Both the
looks
General
like.
Assembly and the Security Council pass what are called resolutions to make policy for the world. The UN has been responsible for eradicating polio in Africa, for instance, of dealing with problems of debt or problems of other diseases spreading. The UN has been very important in making sure that human rights are observed. The most famous document is the United Nations Declaration of Human Rights, which has been ratified and kept by many countries. The UN, precisely because it's so complex, is determined to make sure that everything is done towards a big picture of peace and trying to make sure that humanity attains the primary purpose of what it says, that we believe in a better future.
Okay, one of the big messages out of there, okay, is this whole idea and concept that the United Nations is there to maintain peace and security, okay, establish global peace and security. One of the earlier on Secretary Generals, his name was Dag Hammarskjöld, okay, and one of the great quotes that he said about the UN was, the United Nations is not here to take us to heaven, it's to save us from going to hell. Okay? Now you think about that for a second. What that's saying is that this is not going to be the ultimate saviour of the world, the United Nations. But it's going to be an area for countries to negotiate and to deliberate with one another. So instead of fighting one another, you're sitting down and talking to each other. Okay? Winston Churchill said, okay, it should be more about the jaw, not the war. Okay, and what that means is that there should be more talk with each other, sitting around, speaking. Okay? So, in saying that, let's assess this UN Security Council. Has it been successful, or is it a complete waste of time? A lot of people would say, it never does anything. Okay? But I'm going to try and make strong arguments both sides here and use a bit of history. Okay? So last lesson we started looking at Libya. Okay? Who can remember what I said about Libya in 2011 and what the Security Council did? Yep. Okay, so to remember, we had UN Security Council Resolution 1970 and 1973. Okay? The first one sort of seized Gaddafi's accounts. It condemned the actions of the Libyan government. Okay? And it was a unanimous vote at the Security Council at that time. Then that wasn't enough. There were still killings going on. Gaddafi was still on a rampage as far as trying to kill off the rebel groups in Libya. And so, therefore, the Security Council went to 1973, and this was the no-fly zone that we talked about. Who got involved in the no-fly zone? NATO. What does NATO mean? Not North American Treaty Organization, North Atlantic.
I mean, that's arguable, but
Okay, well, North Atlantic. Okay. What do we classify this as according to the syllabus? What type of group?
Intergovernmental
organisation. Okay, an IGO, an intergovernmental organisation. Okay. Who can see the similarities between the Security Council and NATO? Who can work it out? Yeah, but think about who's in the Security Council.
America. Yeah.
America's one.
Yeah.
US,
France is the second one.
It's just basically North
Russia.
Yeah.
Russia's not in.
Well, Russia's not in. The whole reason that NATO was established in 1949 was to stop Soviet Union push. Okay? So, if we have a look at this resolution, this is where I think it's really quite interesting. Look at that, I type in UN and it comes up with those two resolutions. Isn't that quite funny? Okay? If we have a look at it, okay, and for all intents and purposes, I told you about Wikipedia and how they do these really strongly. Okay? If we break down the voting, okay, that is the voting. It was 10-5-0. 5 abstentions. And look who abstained.
Why would that?
China, Russia.
Why would that?
Good question. You've got to think about abstentions. Abstentions mean that you're not setting any sort of precedent about what you're deciding. Okay? It means they're not vetoing. So action still can be taken, but we're just not going to get involved. Okay? It'd be like seeing a fight break out on the playground and you just turning a blind eye and go, you guys are on your own. Okay? Alright? So, here we've got 5 abstentions, and look at them. Russia and China have abstained. Okay? And so, P5, no, there's no involvement. It's 10-0, so action can be taken. If you have a look at the countries, you think about Germany. Germany's a very interesting one. Okay? NATO, but abstained here. Okay?
theoretically, if 14 countries stayed, does that mean that one country has all the voting power?
It's going to be P5. It's going to be P5. It can be 14-1, but if that one is a permanent 5, it's still veto.
Yeah,
What if
as in-
abstain? One.
If 14 abstain except one approved.
No.
Because you
It
have
has
to
to
pass
be
by 9.
correct. It has to be 9 above.
Oh,
Okay? For it has to have consensus of 9 above, but there's never just really, like, they would never even put it to the Security Council if they knew it was going to fail at 1-14. You know what I mean? It's just a waste of time. I mean, you think about how much discussion was on the MH17. Okay? It never went to the Security Council because they knew the result of what was going to happen. Okay? It was condemned through the General Assembly and so forth, but yeah. Okay, they knew the veto was going to come. Alright? So, okay. I want you, I'll hold off on that one. Now, I want you to type in a search in your computers, please, responsibility to protect. Okay? I want you to type in, find out what this international norm is.
You want to find MH17? They didn't find it.
No, that's you're talking about MH370. That's in the
MH17 is the one that fell down in the ocean. MH17 was shot down.
That's it.
Why?
Both Malaysian Airlines, though.
Yeah, you can.
Alright, do your search, please. Come on. I want you to find what is this thing called responsibility to protect? Someone explain it to me. Come on, boys at the back. Come on. Have you got a device? You can share it together. Alright. What is responsibility to protect? You need to write this into your notes as we search it. What do you reckon, Dave?
Responsibility to protect the people that they're ruling over from like genocide and like
Genocide, killing your own people. Okay, very good. First of all, write to your notes is that it's an international norm. Okay? Responsibility to protect was agreed upon in 2005 at the World Summit. Okay? By the UN member states. This is something that we should do. Okay? We need to come together as a global community to take action on countries that kill their own people. So, civil war, that kind of thing, genocides within borders.
Will they have to vote on this?
They endorsed it, okay? It's not sort of a binding international law. It's like, yes, this is a principle of international law that we should follow, okay? There's two major events that happened before 2005 as the reasons why countries agree. We've heard them come up, these two conflicts, and they happened in the 1990s.
Genocide.
Rwanda's one in the 90s, yes? And what was the other?
Balkan War.
Yeah, the Yugoslav crisis. They're the two big ones in the 90s that leads to this international norm. Okay? So, what is essentially happening here in Libya in 2011 is endorsing and promoting this. Okay? And Obama comes out and says, we have a responsibility to protect the Libyan people because they're being killed by the Libyan government. Okay? So the Security Council is actually supporting R2P. Okay? Taking action. What does that say about Libyan's sovereignty in 2011?
Override.
It's been overridden. Yeah, that's a good word. That is not absolute. Okay, sovereignty under international law, according to R2P, is that it's not absolute. If you're killing your own people, state sovereignty should not be an absolute right. That's what it's sort of saying in that regards. But this is where it gets interesting. Okay? Why Libya, and then why not Syria?
Because Syria is like, isn't it like Russia?
Because Russia's the most regime of us all.
Politics comes into it. Okay?
So, didn't our son say like he didn't want to be in Russia anymore?
Nah, they're pretty close. Don't forget, when we get into Syria in a moment, there's Russian naval bases in Syria. Okay, they're very strong militarily. Okay? Alright, so we've got Libya. Would you regard this as an effective measure at the time? In 2011, what would we say is effective or ineffective?
Effective.
Why?
Because during those times when they couldn't, the people couldn't actually do anything.
Yep. It essentially stopped that civil war that was happening at that time. Yes. What else do we say that's effective here, according to the international community? Security Council. They've actually agreed. Yeah, most of the time they don't agree. Okay, they agreed with Libya. And this is a turning point because essentially what it's saying is that Gaddafi had no more friends on the international playing field. Okay? And so therefore no one was willing to support him or veto that action. In fact, at this time, it was regarded that it was like only a handful of countries. Venezuela was saying, yep, we support Gaddafi and what they're doing, state sovereignty issue. But you look at China. China is very, very strong in their international political policy on sovereignty, that you should not intervene in countries. Here they abstained. Okay? So, action was taken, NATO took over, Gaddafi was essentially taken out of power. He was killed by the rebel group months later. Then, Syria happens. Okay? And if we have a look at Syria, this is the latest. Sorry? Oh, okay. We have had, I think it's 7 vetoes have been used in regards to the topic of Syria. China and Russia are the ones that are vetoing. Now, don't get in your heads in a moment of like, oh, Mr. Ship's up there saying that they're the bad countries of the world, they're the only ones that veto. Let me tell my whole story here about the Security Council, okay? First, we're going to look at this. What's happening in Syria that's not different than Libya? It's the same thing, isn't it? There's also other layers of other factional groups and other non-state actors. Can we get that language in our head too? When we refer to IS, ISIS, ISIL, Daesh, under international law, we will classify them as a non-state actor. Okay? Daesh is the
Daesh is the word they want people to use, but they don't have the word running.
Oh.
Yeah.
No one uses Daesh. No one uses Daesh because that's too complicated.
Because ISIS is good.
ISIS is a good way to simplify down to religious issues.
Yeah. This feels sorry for those, girls that were called ISIS by their parents because it actually was popular. Anyway, boys, let's go back into this. So, boys. Okay. Since 2011, we've seen 7 vetoes in regards to Syria. Okay? This is very much opposite of what we saw in Libya. Okay? So we're seeing political will action taken for Libya, but not for Syria. And there's one main reason there, and some of the big things here is that there's a lack of political will. Okay? There are certain countries saying, no, we are not going to allow intervention into Syria like Libya. Most people will look at China and Russia as their veto of saying you're just trying to help out Assad. Can you think of a reason why they are continuing to veto for what they saw that happened in Libya? What do you think China and Russia weren't so happy about what happened in Libya?
So maybe in the future, if China and Russia takes action towards another country, that they want or they think they have the right to own, maybe the UN's gonna do the same thing, say, oh yeah, you're not doing that.
Yeah, you're on the right track.
They don't want a power vacuum because arguably in Libya, after the rebel takeover, the situation actually got a lot worse and a lot more unstable for that country.
Absolutely. And what effectively happened to the leader of the country? He was taken out of power. Okay? Now what this is suggesting is that did NATO have an ulterior motive to get rid of Gaddafi?
Especially because Libya had
Okay. Now this is where it comes up to international debate. Okay?
Operation
It comes up to international debate as to, oh, hang on. Was it more about R2P?
Iraq, weapons of mass.
Boys, you're interrupting too much. Is it too much? I'm finding it. Come on. Is it more about this R2P or is it about this? Regime change. What that is saying is that this is China and Russia's argument. we will continue to veto because we do not see ongoing regime change, because that goes against international law. What NATO and what all the actions that happened in Libya were supposed to happen was the peace was supposed to be maintained, not overthrowing the government. Okay? Now this whole time period that we've seen through the Middle East called the Arab Spring, okay, the whole thing about this that happened in the Arab Spring was, okay, people in these countries are trying to improve their human rights and try and improve their freedoms, but are we seeing on a larger scale this ability for democracy to come in and the Western powers to have more power and control in an area that's always quite fragile? So we see ongoing veto used. There's only been a number of times when they've agreed in the Security Council, and that was when the first chemical warfare was done in Syria. Okay, they all agreed that a special UN envoy should go in. Okay, so that was where it sort of changed, and Obama was famously quoted as saying, "This is the game changer. This is when everyone should agree under international law that action should be taken." Okay.
Just a question is, if chemical warfare was actually used, what would like happen?
It has been used. Yeah, and people have died.
No, like, you know how there's a law like now that says you shouldn't use it during war.
Yeah.
What happens if like obviously a country is like gonna.
Well, this is what the Security Council is so important.
Yeah, but then they can't really stop it, right?
They can if they want to, depending on how they vote. If they vote in favour of taking action, it's then how much action should be taken. Okay?
Yeah.
And what's happened in Syria is that there hasn't been overriding military action to be done. It's been special envoys, it's been special humanitarian missions, that kind of thing. Okay? I think what we're also got to be careful here, I'll show you on a map in a second.
So when the Security Council is voting on something,
Yes.
if one of the P5 vetoes it, then it's...
That's it, it's gone.
So what if the vote is concerning one of the P5?
Well, if you've done something, I hate to be so cynical, but if you've done something as a P5 member and then it goes to the Security Council, you're more likely going to veto it, aren't you? Okay? You're not going to say, oh yeah, come in, take my country. Yeah, so this is a flaw of the system. Okay? But the other argument is, if we didn't have all five sitting around the table, would we have seen a World War III? Would we saw more conflict than what we have had?
But what stops, like, for example, China or like Russia or even America, like committing genocide?
Oh, well,
Nothing.
Nothing, unless each. Well, there is one thing that could possibly be that international courts and this system is higher power than their own sovereignties. But that won't happen because the UN is not a world. It's not a world government like we have government here in Australia, where separation of powers divides all the power. This is a group of sovereign states that join an organisation. Okay, and all five are critical of committing things or not following international law when it doesn't suit them. Okay, so the first thing I want to show you here is just a map between Libya and Syria. It does explain a lot when you see it from.
We have 13 aircraft carriers.
Okay, when we have a look at Libya as a form of control for what happened in 2011. Okay, majority of the population lives on the coastline. You also had NATO that was flying from Italy and had boats within the Mediterranean Sea. So to be able to control and stop that conflict was pretty swift. If we go over to Syria though, it's a much different geographical, political makeup in this area. Okay? Syria has a northern border of Turkey, and Turkey and Syria have tension between each other. Okay? You've also got Syria as a major defense partner with Russia. Okay? Syria was an old buddy of the Soviet Union, and one of the main reasons was so that the Soviet Union could have access to the Mediterranean Sea. Okay? We've also got other issues in here, most notably Israel. Okay? And Israel has been historically supported by America, and to the extent with the UK. Okay? So you've got a bit more hesitation. You might say, well, why don't we put a no-fly zone over Syria? Well, what the political will of these big players is that if we go into this area, it could turn into a regional conflict. Okay? And there are other matters going on, I'm going to show you in another lesson, that's happening in northern Iraq and southern Syria with the non-state actor. We'll get to that one, okay? But I just wanted you to get this understanding of what the Security Council can and does not do, okay? And I don't want you to have this sort of bias to the Security Council. You've got to have an argument on both sides here. Okay. Here is another one. Here is America's turn. Okay? In 2011, USA vetoed a decision in regards to Israeli settlements in the West Bank. Okay? And so basically at this time it was like, no, we're not going to take any action on Israel. They can proceed in their own state sovereignty affairs. So there was blockade there under the political interests of America at that time. Okay? It's a very interesting area for American politics because if you go back to 2004, there was also another veto around that stage of a decision made by the International Court of Justice. And it was basically saying, no, Israel's fine, we're going to back them, even though there are issues of tension between Israelis and the Palestinian people. Okay? So here's another great example of veto. It's not just Russia and China. Okay? I'm going to get to more of the history in a moment. Okay, here's the most interesting one that happened over the holidays. Okay, check the date out, 24th of December. No, this is a bummer. Okay, 24th of December 2016, the US abstains. Okay, so they don't veto this time. And this is pretty much Obama walking out the White House door. Okay, just throwing this down. And Trump is furious with this. Okay, when he comes into power. Well, Trump, as he's been now quoted after his press conference with the President of Israel, he threw out a very haphazard line of, well, I'm happy for a one-state solution or a two-state solution to the Arab-Israeli conflict. That's what Trump said. Okay? Which is tending towards, he's just wanting what Netanyahu wants, Israel wants. Where Obama had a lot more of a globalist view on Israel and Palestine, that there should be a two-state solution, that both should be sovereigns. But Trump is sort of throwing this sort of, this line out of, well,
He's supporting the
yeah, more than, so he said, I'm happy with a one-state solution or a two-state solution. So it sort of changes the policy. Well, that won't happen because Israel has such control over that area. They're one of the biggest armies in the world, and then you have to look at the international community alliances too. Okay. Okay. So we've got China, Russia, and America all vetoing on certain issues. Okay. If you were going into an essay void and you only went one-sided, Toby, okay, I would mark you down because you need to have a balanced argument as what's going on here. It's not about your subjective view on which country does this and what. You need to try and analyse the whole Security Council here.
What about the UK and France?
We'll get to them. Okay. Generally and historically, they have voted in a pact with America. Okay, so that old traditional capitalist versus communist kind of little pacts that the people are. Okay, but not all the time. We had a very famous incident called the Suez Canal crisis, where they all were against each other. Okay, but I want to show you this. I want to show you this diagram first of the history of veto. Oh, okay. You can get bigger than that, I'm sure. Okay. Here 11. Check out this diagram. Check out this. This is the history of veto usage since the start of the UN. In red is 92 to the present. In what is that? Aqua. Okay, it's the middle time period up to the end of the Cold War. Okay, and 46 to 69. Okay, so look at what the Soviet Union is doing in the very early days. just vetoing everything. The ambassador at the UN, his name is Mr. Veto. Okay? Because all he's basically doing is vetoing. They vetoed everything like, the independent state of, Nigeria. Veto. Well, why would Russia do that at that time period?
Isn't it less about the actual issue and more about say and against the rest of the people?
Yes, it's about against someone else in the P5. It's about against the US. What the US was, I suppose, blamed by the Soviet Union at this time in the UN was, you're just trying to get independent states so you get more votes and you get more power of the balance of power of the world. So Russia just goes veto. Okay? Eventually these countries formed themselves, but America had a lot of strength at the very early on in the UN. Now it's a lot more even. But now it's a lot more complex too. Okay? Wait till I get to that layer of China and its economic interests since the last 30 years. So, it's showing there that every country has veto. Okay? Russia a lot more. And Russia just a little bit more in the modern era too. Okay? You said, for instance, in the UK, I think it was 1979 was the last one. Okay? I'm pretty sure the last one was 1979. But as you can see, they're not really getting involved in veto. They're letting everyone else do it. Okay? Alright. So, everyone's been involved to some extent. Alright, let's have a look at a few other big ones. Okay, there's a list down here. Alright, add some of these if we haven't got them, okay? There's some really good ones here. So, we've seen in October 8, 2016, that was another one of those 7 vetoes. Okay? So, at the moment we have 7 vetoes in regards to Syria. Another one that they used out of that 7 was to stop a referral to the International Criminal Court for war crimes. Okay? When we get to the ICC, we're going to have a look at what these big countries believe in this international court. They don't all agree to it being a court. Okay? What's another one there we can have? There's that 2011 one. Sorry, 1989 one. Okay? In regards to United States invading Panama. Okay? So, I suppose you could add that one to your notes as well. Okay? But yeah, you're not going to be able to do every single veto because, obviously, it's been a lot. But they're the big ones at the bottom time. What you can also do, boys, is type in UN Security Council resolutions, and you'll get a website from the UN. Okay? Check this out. It actually gives you the document. Okay? Voice in the middle. Stop talking. Just watch. Alright. So if we wanted to have a look at the ones that they have agreed to, in 2017, we've had 3, 6, 7 Security Council resolutions passed this year. What are they in regards to though?
Somewhat minor.
Global war. Minor conflicts in certain countries that they all agree upon. Okay? So, we've got Cyprus, Central African Republic, Sudan, South Sudan. Terrorist activity, they all sort of agree to taking action on terrorist activity. Okay? And smaller countries. There's nothing there on Syria. There's nothing there on some of the other, there's nothing there on Ukraine, they haven't focused on Ukraine. Okay? Nothing there on Kosovo or anything like that. Okay? It's all these ones that they actually agree upon. Okay? So, yep.
Once there's a situation, so they're just agreeing on what's actually happening.
Yeah. Okay? They might be agreeing to some extent of terms, like, we'll provide humanitarian assistance to Jordan because Jordan's taking a lot of refugees in. So it's supporting that UN member. I don't know what it is. I mean, it will be in this document somehow. But these documents, as you will see in just a moment, they are written in a way that is very aspirational, very, reaffirming its strong commitment to the unity, sovereignty, and independence of territorial integrity of Yemen. Oh, so this is in Yemen, that's the problems that we saw in Yemen. Okay? So you could go through and just have a look at that as an example. Okay? Alright, let's type in UN Security Council Resolution IS. There's a number of, boys, there's a number of examples where the Security Council has agreed to take action on IS. Okay? It's one thing that they all agree upon, which is something that you could say that, well, it's not always about veto. It is about, certain situations that there is work that is taken under control.
If they all agree upon, can they use an illegal weapon?
Okay, we're going to go to the General Assembly in just a moment to answer that one. Okay? Because that hasn't been agreed upon through the UN, but let's just go further into our notes. Yeah, I'll come back to the General Assembly now. We've got two big issues in the Security Council. Okay? Alright. So, I'm going to really drill this into your brain because, it's very, very important. Last year, it was a
This is Eric.
Hi, Eric.
Eric and you just moved in together.
Eric, Tom coaching. Thanks, Eric. You've been through that for a month. Okay. That's not Eric, that's Kevin. Alright. We know what domestic law is, don't we? It's a law that's within a given sovereign. We've learned about that since day one in this class. Now what we need to know is how international law is incorporated into domestic law. I want to use a certain amount of words here. Okay? What are some of the words? Only using words. Okay? What's the first thing that countries will do around the world to agree to international law? Yeah, they'll discuss. Okay? But if they all agree, they'll do something with S. Sign. Okay, good. Then with A, what do they formally have to do? Adopt. Okay, once the country agrees and adopts this international law, what's the process that they have to do into domestic law? Ratify. Okay? And by ratifying it, what are you doing with E? Excellent. Okay, there are two more words. They both start with E. Well done. Okay, so that is the process of international law into domestic law. Okay, please have that in your notes. Absolutely crucial you understand that process. Okay, I cannot spell that out any more clearer than that. The thing is, it falls down somewhere in that. Some countries don't want to ratify international law. Okay? Australia has a history of that in certain areas. We make contributing domestic law to international law.
Are we breaking the UN's code?
We would. There are certain areas. There are some areas that we promoted, and there's some areas that we disregarded. Okay? We still have a humanitarian intake, which supports the Refugee Convention. But when it comes to offshore processing, there's question marks under international law that we're violating. Okay? Alright. So, important to get the language in your head. Now let's go back to the General Assembly. You talked about illegal guns. What were you getting to there, Jason?
Just like illegal weapons and stuff.
Okay.
Wait, so America is it? people, citizens of American say they have a right to hold a weapon.
They have a right to bear arms.
Right to bear arms.
Yeah, that's in their own constitution.
What the minute isn't that?
Boys, okay, just follow me here on my website, please, because there are some other things here that you can get down. Boys, oh, there's the bill. That's quick. Yeah. Okay. Now, what we'll look at next lesson is the General Assembly, and we'll then get into the courts. Okay? Boys, you've got to tone down. If I'm talking, you've got to tone it down a bit. Okay? So we're going to look at the General Assembly and some cases that happen there, and then we'll go into the courts, and then we're looking at either, I don't know yet, maybe do a whole lot on Rwanda, or maybe watching a documentary on the ICC. It comes up in that ICC stuff.